I listened to all over 12 and a half hours of Suzanne Collins' new book, Sunrise on the Reaping, prequel to Hunger Games, Hamish's story, and I got a lot of notes, so let's get into it. And just so no one comes at me in the comments, spoiler alert here. Also, this was a over 12 and a half hour audiobook. So there is a lot to digest, and I'm not going to hit on every single point. So that being said, if I missed something that's really important to you, that stood out to you, very sorry, but don't want to have this be like a 3-hour long video. So let's get started. First and foremost, the fact that Hamish's birthday is on the day of the reaping, that, like, Suzanne Calling, come on, girl. Like, that is just, I did not, I don't know, that's just one detail I was, like, kind of like, okay, like, did not see that coming. That's the absolute crappiest day of birth. I'm sorry, that is just very unfortunate. Sorry, Hamish. Another thing I really truly did love is that Hamish had a younger brother, and their relationship, that melted my heart. I had a bad feeling about what was going to happen to the brother from the very beginning as soon as the brother was introduced. But I still love the fact that he had a brother and they had that relationship. The Cubby played a huge part in the other prequel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And so I really found that such a cool connection. And the fact that, like, Burkdock Everdeen, who is Katniss's dad, is one of Hamish's friends. That I did not see coming. That part was such a cool little detail. I also love how the escort for District 12 in the 50th Hunger Games was Drusilla, which reminds me of Drusilla from Cinderella, who was an evil stepsister. So I just thought it was I don't know if she meant to do that, but I thought it was a kind of cool twist on words from an evil stepsister character that's been around for forever and a half. Also, Drusilla absolutely loathed her character, which means great writing. Great writing. I also I knew obviously Hamish was in the 50th Hunger Games, and we knew how he became the victor from the Hunger Games series. However, we did not know really many more details. So I thought the whole reaping thing was it was just such a twist on things, so unexpected, really cool, like how Woodbine Chance was actually selected. He ran, got shot. They had Lenore tried to comfort Woodbine's mom. Hamish ended up stepping in when Peacekeepers tried to get to Lenore, which is his love, and then he got pulled in by Drusilla to be the replacement for Woodbine. That was really cool storyline and build up. Really cool scene. Excited to see how it plays out in the movie. The movie is coming November 20th, 2026, just to let you know. Again, the connection she made, like Effie appeared when, because Hamish's dressers or stylists were college students, and one of them was Effie's sister. And Effie came to the rescue when the actual real stylist failed at his job miserably. Did not see him liking reptiles and liking to lick reptiles, but you know what? Throwing a curveball at us. So I love how the Effie, came in, swooped in, and how they tied her into it. Since there's no alive victors for District 12, how the two mentors, they're Wireless and Mags, which is really cool, tying them in, because they just got to me in the Hunger Games series. So that was really cool to see them tied into this whole prequel of events. I also really thought it was cool how they tied Beatty in, because he was such a cool character. Super, super disturbing of the fact that he had to be a mentor and his son somehow, out of chance, became the tribute. One of the two male tributes for the Hunger Games. That was so sadistic and so kind of like Snow from what he's become. That, but it just got to me. Luella dying in the parade by the firework incident, and then them creating a new Luella. That was unexpected. I did not expect Luella to die right then and there. Like, I thought there would be more to her. So for her to die right then and there, I was like, ugh. I knew she died because Hamish is the victor, but like, I was not expecting that. And then for them to create a new Luella, I was not expecting that. I was expecting when Snow was saying that he had a gift for Hamish, I was expecting Lenore and a goodbye before Snow killed Lenore. But anyway, that's just my whole thing. Anyway, so, and I also wonder what was going on, like when the new Luella was like, seemed like she was hearing things or things were going on. I wonder what the Capitol did. Like, did they really implant something? Like, what was going on? What was the situation? That would have been cool to kind of dive into more. And then the other male tribute, Wyatt Callow, he definitely, at first, I was like skeptical of his character and thought he would, like, you know, try to portray Hamish or like try to kill Hamish. But then he definitely grew on me, and it was actually really sad when he died, especially defending the new Luella at the beginning of the Hunger Games when the whole game started and the bloodbath, cornucopia bloodbath. I think Wyatt Callow had great character development, in my opinion. I also really liked the whole newcomer scenario and scheme, how they became the newcomers. That was really cool, really sweet. And I really like how they had Beetee and even Plutarch, where they brought Plutarch in, both of them be, you know, 25 years before Katniss's whole quarter quell situation and her revolution, they were already fighting the Capitol. They thought it was interesting that she gave him a 1 at training. I was not expecting that. I was actually kind of expecting his score to be higher, on like the high end, like they did with Katniss in the Hunger Games. But I definitely see like she's like probably been there, done that. Let's throw a curveball and do a low score, because that still has a lot of meaning and impact on the game. The deaths in this book were really intense. It was so touching how Hamish and Maisie ended up calling each other siblings. The scene where like the game makers tried to sneak in and like fix the arena, and they had that whole little battle. That was a cool like side little kind of scene. I thought that was interesting. I also loved all the inter-dialogue and thoughts that Hamish had. Like all the inner battles and thoughts and character development internally he had that we got from the book was really cool. It'll be interesting to see how they can interpret that on screen, because, you know, you have to play it a certain way to interpret dialogue and character development on screen. So that'll be interesting to see how they do that. I'm interested to see who they also cast as Hamish. So that'll be interesting. Willie's death by Silka, the heck. That was so heartbreaking. And her details and her description and like her writing in that scene really just got to me. I thought she did such a beautiful job with that. And also, even though we knew how he killed Silka and became the victor, it was still really cool to get kind of more details and kind of have a more, have more of that scene than just Katniss and Peeta watching it on film. Hamish's return at the celebration where he was crowned victor, Snow saying, "Welcome home." I got the chills when I heard that on the audiobook, because I knew right there, crap was gonna hit the fan. And boy, was I right. Not expecting the mom and brother to die by fire right away when he got back. Really feel she did a great job writing the scene and the emotion of Hamish coming home and the house fire and him realizing his brother and mom were burned to death. It gave me chills. It made me teary-eyed. It was so heartbreaking. And then to go on to Lenore, which her death, that was absolutely so gut-wrenching. The fact that he fed her the gumdrops that were poisonous and killed her. Obviously completely on accident. He had no idea they were poisonous, but still, like, the fact that it was him who fed her them. And now he has to live with that every day. I'm the one that put the poisonous gumdrops into her mouth. I did not give her the bag. Snow was the one who sneakily gave her the bag of blood red gumdrops to poison her. But Hamish was the one who actually hand-fed her the gumdrop that killed her. That is absolutely... The air left my lungs when I listened to that. I was like, no way. I can only imagine the emotion that he is feeling and the pain and guilt and suffering he is going through. And I also think it's cool how she went from that to progressing him to, okay, he needs to somehow find some way to cope with this because he's having really bad nightmares. It's just getting to him, which it would get to anyone. So he starts using sleeping aid, a liquid to help him sleep. And then turns to alcohol. That is such a beautiful, like, progression to the Hamish we know at the beginning of the Hunger Games series. And the last note, again, like I said, I don't want to make this video 3 hours long. It's already pretty long. Is the epilogue. I love how she tied it into Peeta and Katniss at the end and how things changed for him as time went on and Peeta and Katniss came into his life and he had to mentor them. And I loved how she tied the title into things. Like, I was like, why is it called Sunrise on the Reaping? There's got to be a reason. I love what she did is, like Lenore said, stop the sunrise on the reaping. Like, stop the reaping, stop the Hunger Games. And I loved how she tied that in at the end to like him helping Katniss be the one to stop the sunrise on the reaping. So that was just so beautiful. I give the book a 4.5 out of 5. There's just a few things I would change, but overall so good. Highly recommend reading. If you've read it or listened to it, comment below your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. I know this was a longer video. Thank you all. Love you all. Bye.